Hello everybody, it's Jared here. I wanted to make this video to all of my LGBTQ+, the Latino community, the black community, women, and anyone who is deemed a minority in our country. Do not be discouraged by the election results. They were very slim margins. The division highlights the great divide in our nation that we have seen. We are greater than our worst fears. We must allow our inner light to push forward in these dark days ahead, knowing that our God is the same. The country is mourning the election, not mourn. The amazing efforts by millions of Americans highlights the greatness within us. As someone who has volunteered for events like the Women's March in 2017, shortly after Donald Trump was first elected, we have the power together to make collective change. I'd also like to highlight, there's nobody saying that the election was stolen. It really highlights the best of us, gracefully stepping down from power. You don't see leaders within the Democratic Party right now calling on election fraud. But Trump, up until the election, called election fraud in many states, including Pennsylvania. So how can these results be trusted? I would be weary of these results. A lot of things happened, such as you guys can see, there's a discrepancy of 15 million Americans that did not vote. It makes no sense. And there was more people registered to vote. And this was supposed to be a higher turnout. So that's kind of something very weird and eerie about this election. There's just a lot of things. You can check it out on Twitter. But if you look at this graph right here, U.S. presidential election popular vote, Democrat versus Republican in millions. You see the line right here at 65 million compared to 2012, 2016, 2020. If you compare 2020 to 2024, you see a huge downtick in voters for Democrats. A total of 15 million votes. And then for Republicans, you see kind of a slight less. So you can see the slight popularity go down. Donald Trump went down in popularity. But based on these discrepancies, you can see that we're missing a margin of 15 million votes, where they're only saying about 68 million people voted for Kamala Harris, which makes no sense because if there's a higher voter turnout, you would expect there to be more voters for Kamala Harris and not be so depressed like it is now. So this is also something to look at and figure out, okay, was there less people who actually voted in this election? Or is there 15 million ballots that are missing? I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but this is something that, within the data sets, there's a lot of discrepancies. And that's on Twitter. And also a lot of ballots, like this ballot wasn't counted in the general election. So like John Prevost, he said, really not trying to stoke conspiracy, but is it really feasible that Democrat enthusiasm at near Obama
it is that
level,
fundamental belief,
and
I am my brother's keeper, I am my sister's keeper, that makes this country work.
Project 2025 really
it's what allows us
less
to pursue our individual dreams.
Something does not make sense.
And yet still come together as one American family.
For a Democrat?
E
look at the
pluribus
graph,
unum.
Democrats
Out
have
of
always
many,
done very
one.
well in the popular vote. So something's going
Now,
on here.
even as we speak,
that's not
there
being
are those
discussed.
who are preparing
but nonetheless, if you even look at the election map here,
negative ad peddlers,
you can see
who embrace the politics of anything goes.
A lot of these states were by very slim margins. If you look at right here, Donald Trump got 50.5 out of 48.5. That's less than 2 percentage points within Pennsylvania. Georgia's the same way. If you look at Georgia, the data sets, less than 2 percentage points. If you look at Wisconsin, it's less than 1 percentage point. Less than roughly 30,000 votes are separating that state's electoral college win. Then if you look at Michigan, you see the same pattern of this depressed vote of Democrats. So something else is going on here, but nonetheless, they called the election for Donald Trump. As a collective people, we need to come together and, personally, I want to run for office in the next few years because the direction our country is going, it's really too polarized. People are too divided. People are not coming together. You have too far to the left, too far to the right. people, you know, are it's heartbreaking what has happened to our country. And, you know, and the dark days that are coming, we need to be prepared. We need to mobilize. We need to get out and vote. We need to get our voices heard, and we need to stay active and engaged in the civic process, because if we do not, we would lose our country and our democracy. Our democracy is important. It's very fragile. It's a very fragile thing. But we live in the greatest country on earth, the greatest experiment to ever exist. And I'm going to end that video here, but that's just something to look at. Again, this is Universe Stories Podcast. This is a podcast I started in 2020. I'm going to keep the podcast going over the next few years, because I really think, you know, I would like to get my opinions, my voice, and let people know, hey, this is what's happening. Hey, maybe there's a second eye we could look at, you know, a second opinion on something, because not everything's very, you know, to cutthroat. There's always multiple opinions to something. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube.